Good morning, everyone. It is November 8th, 2018. I think I said 7th, the last one. I don't know. I have one processing about the mass shooting that took place in California. But here we are at DC Clothesline. New Muslim representatives, Sharia corruption, and Jew hatred come to the House. And we all know I'm not a big fan of Jews, but on the other hand, I'm not a big fan of Muslims either. Both are very perverse, twisted ideologies. But as expected, two Muslim women, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce them bitches' names, but I'll try. Rashida and Talib in Michigan, and Ilhan Omar in Minnesota have been overwhelmingly elected to Congress, and the establishment media will celebrate. I don't see how this is at all good for our country. We have one culture that is not compatible with their culture. I think those motherfuckers need to get out of our country ASAP. Another one, and this really should demonstrate the condition of American politics. Dead brothel owner wins Nevada Assembly seat. Forget about retention of GOP control of the U.S. Senate. The high point of Tuesday's election was the victory in Nevada's 36th District Assembly race, where this dead brothel owner won the Nevada Assembly seat. I also talked about yesterday two Republican candidates that were facing corruption and other charges were still reelected. Not good. Not good. What happened between President Trump, Donald Trump yesterday, and Jim Acosta was hilarious. I laughed until I was in tears. It was funny. And I never said that I hated Donald Trump. I just do not support him as a political candidate. I've always thought Donald Trump was funny and entertaining to listen to, and he did not disappoint yesterday. I don't support political candidates because I do not support politics at all. Florida votes to restore voting rights to 1.4 million Americans, or felons, rather. And they say, what could possibly go wrong? Oh God, somebody that lives in this country actually is able to vote. Oh no. Fucking retards. These same people who wrote this article will vote for individuals who commit felonies while at the same time condemning citizens who commit felonies. And most of the felonies shouldn't even be called that. But I digress. Midterm results may have saved America from civil war. Here's what to expect next. And it's not going to save America from civil war. I would venture to say that that shooting in California has something to do with it. Yes, we will get some comedy from the House, but it's going to be pure gridlock. Donald Trump will not be able to get anything done, and neither will they, because he will veto what they put in front of him, unless, of course, they collude together to get these things passed. And that's why I keep telling you that both sides, left and right, are guilty of many of the shit that's terrible in this country. They are the cause of it. Remember, compromise killed Rome. Okay, now that crazy Dems control the House, they plan to hit Trump with a wave of subpoenas. In this very dark moment in American history, on November 6th, the American people gave the keys to the U.S. House of Representatives to the Democrats. And they are rats. All of them. Republicans, I have another name for them, but I'm not going to get into that. And here we are at the article I'm going to cover in this video. DC bureaucrats are trying to make parents get a license to let children play together. And you see why I hate politicians and bureaucrats. It's for these reasons right here. I mean, if these people get their way, we will have to get a license to take a shit. Seriously. Seriously. We're going to have a license for everything. Let's say you and some of your friends decide to gather your young children a couple days a week for a few hours to free play. Maybe you switch off who leads the gaggle of kids each week, allowing for some shared free time and flexibility. Sounds like a great arrangement for all, right? Your kids get to play freely with their friends, and you get some occasional free babysitting. According to government officials in Washington, D.C., arrangements like this are violations of the law. Do you understand how absurd law is? They are cracking down on what they call an illegal child development facility operating without a license. The regulation of the play date. Back in the 1970s, a group of parents got together to create an informal playground for toddlers in D.C. in a spare room of a local church. Over the last 40 years, groups of parents and their 2-year-olds have enjoyed these 3-hour play groups, which children can attend up to 3 days a week. The play group is staffed by parents of the kids who attend, and they take turns watching the children. There is no paid staff. According to a recent article from the Washington Post, written by Karen Lips from the Network of Enlightened Women, some D.C. government officials now are trying to regulate the program, which they contend is an illegal child care facility. The Office of State Superintendent of Education investigated the playground cooperative in early September and issued a statement saying the group is violating child care facility laws and must get a license to operate. Before you know it, you're going to have to get a license to get laid. Yep. The parents are rightfully outraged, arguing that this is an informal parent-led playgroup that should not be regulated as a child care facility. Government officials argue that the playgroup doesn't qualify for an exemption as an informal group because the parents over the years have established some simple rules for participation, including stating that parents can or can't bring contagious children to the playgroup and asking for emergency contact information. I mean, isn't that just common sense that you don't send your sick child who's contagious to school or playgroups? And having emergency contact information is also essential. Seeing how, when kids are playing, they fall. One might fall, bust their head open, or some other thing, and need to be taken to the hospital. Both of these things are common sense. Do you see how the government wants to destroy common sense? As a homeschooling mom, I host groups of children at my house all the time, sometimes with their parents and sometimes without. And my friends reciprocate. I have the same rules as the DC playgroup. Don't bring sick kids to my house. Tell me if they have any food allergies or medical issues. Give me your phone number in case of an emergency. Oh, and take off your shoes. I'm not real big on that kind of rule, taking off your shoes. But, it's her house. Government or gross overreach by the state. Could the government crack down on these types of playgroups, arguing they are not informal because of basic expectations for health and safety? Or are parents so incapable of voluntarily determining health and safety expectations that the government must do it for them? The state does not need to insert itself into all aspects of private life, but they do. Parents are competent enough to create voluntary associations with other parents that benefit their children and themselves. As Lips writes in her article, ironically, if the office of the State Superintendent of Education has its way and is allowed to regulate this playgroup out of existence, it would be creating a disincentive for parents to self-regulate, as a playgroup with no safety rules would presumably be on stronger legal standing. Once again, some fucking control freak bureaucrat is trying to control every aspect of your life. What do you think? Do you think we need to kill the state so that we can be free? I do.